today we want to look at how small business owners in particular can simplify their payroll processes. So we are going to explore the issues and solutions that is related to simplifying payroll processes for small business owners. And to take us on this simplification process is none other than Vivian Ekemezie, as I have introduced earlier. Good morning, Vivian. It's so good to have you join us.
Good morning. Good morning, Miri. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you too. So very quickly, we'd like you to just introduce yourself to us in a few seconds, then we go right into the conversation.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Yuri, for that. So yes, like you mentioned, I'm Vivian Ekemezie. I'm a growth executive for a payroll company. So basically, I've been in tech sales for a while. So selling software as a service kind of product, basically. And apart from that, I'm a podcaster as well as a media personality. So that's just basically, so I'm here to talk about payrolls, and because I understand that it's a crucial part of every organization. So thank you, Yuri, once again.
All right, thank you so much. So now, payroll. What exactly is payroll to businesses, especially small business owners? And why is it important that business should have a payroll process?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. So payroll is actually very, very, very important. And to put it in, a nutshell, basically, in simple words, payroll is the process of, managing and processing employees' and compensation. By compensation, I mean employees' salaries, benefits, bonuses, even taxes, statutory obligations as well. So payroll is all encompassing. There's a common misconception about payroll. People think that, okay, when you talk about payroll, you're basically talking about disbursing salaries. So if I can disburse salaries by, transferring my employees' salaries, basically, so why do I need to know anything basically about payroll? But payroll is all encompassing. It goes beyond just paying salaries. So like I mentioned, it's the process of managing and processing employee compensation within a company. And it involves, calculating employees' wages, deductions, taxes, and other withholdings like the taxes I mentioned. So yes, that's basically payroll in a nutshell.
I'm interested, most often we just have businesses that think, okay, so far I'm able to just pay my staffs their salary. Why then do I have to, take an extra cost by engaging a payroll software or a payroll company? So now why I'm gonna ask, I know you mentioned like, okay, probably the importance, but then what are the key advantages of using a payroll software or outsourcing payroll? Because I could recall when I was much younger, I know that my mom, being a teacher, she has this this voucher thing that she's always writing for all the staff once it is salary period and all. So what are the advantages of having this payroll software? Can you just highlight the key advantages for us? Thank you.
Okay, all right. So first of all, when I mentioned payroll, I don't really mean a software, although that's what's common now. So payroll can be done maybe by outsourcing to another company. You know what? I don't want to have anything to do with this. Just help me do everything as regards payroll, maybe an accountant, an auditor, or whatever, or even a payroll tax officer, right? You can have that particular, and then you can also have a software whereby you as an entrepreneur or you as a company want to handle your payroll yourself using a software. Now, the advantages is this, right? Like I mentioned, payroll is not just about salaries, right? The advantages are these, right? Now, for small businesses, some small businesses might say, well, I just have 3 to 4 to 5 employees or 15. I'm not like a large company. So what do I need? Why do I need to outsource my payroll, or why do I need to have a payroll software, basically? But the truth is that having a payroll software, all right, let me use software now. So having a payroll software sort of puts your organization in a structure, gives your organization some sort of structure. Now, before now, or right now, what a lot of people are using, let's say they're using Excel sheets or any Google Sheets or whatever to compile the employees' taxes, wages, and whatnot. Now, with payroll platforms. You can do all of that in a single platform. So imagine having to disburse salaries instantly from a platform, having to pay taxes on that same platform, having to do other benefits like HMOs and every other thing in one single platform. Now it feels like this is your workspace now, basically. So having that in just a single platform, you don't have to go through the stress of having an Excel sheet or go through the stress of going to the bank to pay salaries or going to the LIRS office to remit taxes. Everything is basically done from one platform. So that's one benefit, that one advantage that SMEs can, take with
the payroll. That really makes sense. I remember there was this particular office I was working at sometimes in the past, and once it is like, I think the first week of the month, we always have to go to the bank to pay our LRS. We have to go to different places, and we have to keep paying and paying. And I just like, okay, all these hours that we are using to go to the bank, they are productive hours that we can actually keep ourselves, productive at work. So thank you so much for highlighting the advantages. So now going to what are the common payroll mistakes that small business owners make, and how can they avoid that mistakes?
Okay, all right. So some of the common mistakes I would say that they make is for instance, compliance with regulations. Now, for companies that pay taxes, now taxes for the company, taxes for the workers as well. Now, you don't want to be held by the law, like for any reason, especially when it comes to taxes, it can be very, 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 very bad. Yeah. So with payroll, right, with a proper payroll software or a proper payroll third party that you're, contracting it to, they help with, being up to date and compliant with taxes. Apart from that, the mistakes that some people may make is that they don't calculate very well. Sometimes you have a situation whereby you are overpaying your employees or you're underpaying your employees. But with a proper payroll platform, you're able to always cross-check, go back, edit, delete, cancel, and do all of that. So you don't have a problem of, oh, I initiated this, twice. You can always cancel. Yes, you can always cancel. And then apart from that is another mistake I would say people make is, especially small businesses. So there are a lot of small businesses that they don't really have proper record. So, having to pay salaries, no pay slip. Now, you know that some organizations, some small businesses rather, once they pay salaries, they always employ a different app to maybe create pay slips, or they just say, oh, I've used, or there's no pay slip at all. Yeah, but with a proper payroll software, a software that can generate pay slips that you can see and your employees can also see. Okay. Maybe through their own interface, they can see that, oh, I've been paid, this is the breakdown of my salary. And you also can see it for evidence purpose, for financial reports, for financial reconciliation. So yes, that's another thing. And again, another mistake, I don't know if I should call it a mistake, but basically, I always say this, entrepreneurs have a lot of things they are thinking about. Yeah. They have headaches from, how do I sell my products? They have headaches from
customer service, branding, adverts, and
exactly. So why should you put payroll headache on yourself again? I mean, when you can have
okay, but to cut in their defense, let me talk about this. So in their defense, I think cash is king, and it is also very important that entrepreneurs monitor the inflow and the outflow of the cash that, both at hand and everything. So I think the ability to oversee that, okay, this is how much I have and that is going to actually take me to my next question. Sorry that I had to actually cut in at that point. So now, you know that this issue of confidentiality is a whole lot of things. So people are usually very secretive with their money, especially entrepreneurs. They really don't want a third party to know how well their business is doing or how not so good their business is doing. Now we're talking about simplifying payrolls, which also means that they have to probably contract it out and everything. So how do we now balance this aspects of confidentiality and security when handling payroll, when it comes to, you know, keeping records and also still not burdening themselves with the payroll part of the business?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that question. Now, I love this question particularly because whenever we get to interface with or meet with clients, these are the questions that come up. Oh, Vivian, okay, I love what you've told me. I love what, you know, this platform can do, but what is, how am I sure about security? Now I'm talking about it, whatever platform, whether you choose to use a platform or you choose to outsource it or you choose to do it yourself. Now, security matters a lot. Now, I would always advise that when going into such thing, if you have your objections, right, it is always good to have an agreement. There's something called an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. So you can always sign that with that company that, okay, I don't want any of my information to be out there. This is, you know, very, you know, dear to me. It's money, I mean, so I don't want any of my information out there. So you can always have an NDA. You can always, you know, check for, if you're going to be outsourcing it, check if that company is reliable. Check who is using that company or who is using that person you're outsourcing to. Check that software product, who is using that software product. I mean, their client base, and see, you know, good companies that are under them, right? If at all you'll be using the payroll software. And apart from that, I can say for free that a lot of banks now, usually what you have on some SME online platform of some banks, for instance, Stanbic IBTC and Kuda, what you have there sometimes is, okay, maybe a bulk upload. When at the end of the month, you put your employees' details, their name, exactly, and the bank, you know, pays for you. But like I mentioned, payroll is not just paying salaries, it's a lot more than that, right? So yeah, so there are some banks that have, you know, incorporated or integrated payroll into their systems, and you can check them out. I don't know, I do not want to mention any name, but you can check them out. There's some banks that have, you know, integrated payroll platform. You can ask your, whatever bank you're using, you can ask your accounts manager, yes, that, okay, I need a payroll platform. Do you have anything? And all of that. So if you're doing a payroll, if you're going to be using a payroll software or a payroll platform from your own trusted bank, then I think security is fine, if you ask me. So if, for instance, I'm going to be using payroll for my bank, GT Bank, or for my bank, Stanbic Bank, then, I mean, I know that I can hold GT Bank or Stanbic Bank responsible, right? So
definitely. All right. Thank you so much for answering that, you know, very well. It is very important. And I know that it is one thing that is going to be on the mind of everyone that is viewing this interview. So now, just to move very fast, I would also like to ask, so integration with payroll and everything, what are the steps that are involved in, you know, handling payroll during periods of growth and when you're adding additional employees, you know, especially for people in the informal sector, you know, they have some staffs that they're probably on just wages, some will just have contract staffs. So for all of these different set of staffing and everything, employees, their agreements and all, what are the steps involved in handling the payroll during growth process, and how can they, you know, add, remove and all for on that platform and all the other things to manage here?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that question. So yes, this the answer I will be giving, right? I've been in the payroll field for a while, right? So it depends on the payroll platform you're using or whoever you're outsourcing it. But ideally, a payroll platform or a payroll software should be one that can accommodate new employees and can be able to remove old employees should they leave the company. So you have to look out for that. Now, if you're going to be onboarding 10 employees, you're onboarding 10 employees because maybe you're a startup and you know that sometime in the future you grow. So when you grow up to the point that you now have 20 employees, that platform or that whoever you're giving, you're outsourcing your payroll should be able to provide a feature whereby you can add new employees. And I can say for free that a lot of payroll platforms have that. So of course you can be able to add them. You can also be able to terminate, you know, employees so that they don't get salaries when you're paying, right? So of course you should look out for that basically. So these are the questions you would want to ask as an entrepreneur. I'm talking to the entrepreneurs now. These are the kind of questions you want to ask when you have to interface with a payroll provider.
provider. Oh, okay, so very good one. Thank you so much for answering that. So on the final note from my end now, I would ask you, so what advice do you have for small business owners who want to simplify and streamline their payroll process, and they still want to stay compliant with the relevant laws and the regulations?
Okay, good one. So finally, I would say that first of all, it's a good thing that you have, thought about simplifying your payroll, because payroll is really, really, a very big headache. Yeah. So it's a good thing that you've decided to simplify. So then what I would advise is what I've been saying all along, okay? Try to make sure that you look for the right platform or the right payroll provider, right? Maybe from your trusted banker, try to look for that one that can satisfy your payroll needs. What are your pain points when it as regards payroll? Apart from that, make sure that you have an understanding, right, yourself about taxes, how much you're supposed to be paying in taxes. If you're in Lagos, LIRS, if you're in any other states, have a fair idea of these taxes, and make sure that that platform is remitting the right taxes for you, so that you don't have an issue later with the tax authorities, right? So that's the advice I'll be giving. And apart from that, like I mentioned, payroll is not just about salaries and taxes. So with a good payroll platform, you can also be able to access things like bonuses, things like loans, things like HMOs, that's the benefits, VIKs, life insurance. All of these are all encompassing in a good payroll product. So make sure that you look out for things like that, to serve for you. And also make sure to, make sure to look for a payroll platform that has a form of safe or a form of vault where you can access receipts. So because this is money, you need receipts in case of,
for record purpose and all.
And financial reconciliation. Maybe you do that quarterly or monthly or yearly. You need that platform that can provide these documents for you. So make sure you have a good payroll platform that you can have your receipts, your pay slips, all embedded there. Even if you've used it in 2018, you can go back to 2018 and find out that, okay, I still
get it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my advice.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Vivian. It's really been an enlightening session. And I think this has actually given us an insight into what payroll looks like. So it is not all that expensive from what we just learned now. So payroll is actually very good. It helps make life easy, and it helps keep things standardized. So if you look growing your business to be world class, why not start with the right structure even at this early stage? So payroll does that for you, and it really makes sense that you don't have to stress yourself over LRS and not just LRS, pardon me, over all the tax regulations and compliances. So thank you, and we know that we've all learned something new this morning. So just to wrap up now, Vivian, do you have any final words? And we call it a morning.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Iri. I am most excited to be here and to have said everything I have. But I would like to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to MSME Africa, most especially. I belong to, or I'm part of the community, and I see everything that goes on there. I must commend Mr. Shere Oluwatimi. And I also want to say a belated happy birthday to him, although I wished him as well. But happy birthday, Sammy. God bless you and keep you. I love everything you're doing with MSME Africa, and may God continue to replenish you in 100-fold. So that's what I have to say. And to the entrepreneurs out there, keep kicking ass, keep bringing in the deals, keep soaring higher, basically, and don't give up. I know that entrepreneurship can be very hard at times, especially with the economy. Yes, especially with the economy, but don't give up. Keep keeping at it, basically. Thank you so much, Iri. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. It's been a very great time talking to you this morning. And before I call it a morning, I just want to say that we've heard about this payroll thing, and to staying informed about payroll best practices and seeking professional advice when needed can further make life easy for everyone that is now thinking of implementing or incorporating payroll into their business and into their payment thing. So I just say keep getting more information, and if there are any other further questions, you can simply just write to us at MSME Africa. You would definitely get a response. So thank you. This is where we call it a morning. You can still connect with us on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and of course Facebook. And we have a close-knit community of entrepreneurs. If you're not yet a part of the community, I want to say you have to join us, because great things are happening. Their networks are being built, collaborations and partnerships are being forged in that community. And this is where we call it a morning.